Hello. Today you hear a lot of people talking about living authentically. But what in the world does that mean? Let's talk about that. Hello, my name is Rick Sundstrom, and I'd like to welcome you to Journey Beyond Belief. Today's topic is the concept of living authentically. So, what is living authentically? Well, I think probably the obvious definition would be to live in a way that is authentic or true to who you are. Well, duh, but what does that mean? Well, I think for one thing is it's basically doing a self-examination. What is it that I believe? What do I believe? And is my life and my behaviors and my actions, is that consistent with my beliefs and my personality and who it is that I am? It basically, living authentically basically involves the idea of self-examination, basically figuring out who it is that you are and then living accordingly. Wow, that's big. The first concept that we need to talk about before we really get into this too deep is the examination of yourself. The first thing that you want to keep in mind is that when you do an initial assessment of yourself, it should be without judgment. A lot of times we can get, kind of hard on ourselves. We can look at areas of our lives that we don't like, and we can kind of be, just judgmental of ourselves or harsh on ourselves. Or maybe we might be exactly the opposite. Maybe we really like ourselves and we're more towards the narcissistic scale. Who knows? But it's important to kind of evaluate yourself in a non-judgmental fashion. I mean, try to be as honest as you can in your assessment, and as accepting as you can. I mean, you need to take responsibility for who you are, what you've done, how you've lived and how you're going to live. I mean, your personality, your strengths, your weaknesses, it's not good. It's not bad. You want to do your assessment in a way that you're just trying to get that baseline. It is what it is. I mean, if you do find something that you really don't like, you know what? Part of living authentically is the fact that, hey, you can change it if you want to, because you might say, hey, that's negative thing. It's hurting people, or it's not bringing positive results in my life. I'd like to work on changing that. That's okay. That's part of living authentically. Well, what are some things that you can do to help you learn more about yourself? Well, I've found personality assessments, strength assessments, can be very helpful. I like the Enneagram online. It gives a pretty good, at least a baseline of what your personality type is, and gives you some ideas of what the best versions of that personality are, and maybe some of the problem areas that you might encounter with that personality if you go into some of the more negative aspects of that personality. It's pretty decent. Like as far as like strength assessments, strength finders, I've done that myself. Thought that was very good. Tells you what your strengths are. Not even so much your weaknesses, but more it's a positive based program, which I really liked, which focuses on what is it that you're good at, and then tells you some things that maybe points you in a direction that might be helpful to you, or tell you about what are types of things or how people are that have these strengths might be and how they might live and all that good stuff. One of the important things I think that is helpful when you're doing any kind of an assessment of yourself is to involve somebody else in this assessment. Find somebody that you trust, somebody that knows you very well and is willing to be honest to you, and someone that's not, that's not going to be ruthless or make you feel bad about yourself, but yet somebody who will help you with an honest assessment of how you are. And that's always important. So then you would maybe do an assessment like the Enneagram and then show them the results and use that as a springboard for discussion. And that's always good. Another concept I think that is very important, and this is the concept that I'm going to close with, is what do you want to do with your life? And that's important because, like, you could decide, well, I want to live authentically and I want to, live life according to how I am, and then kind of turn more selfish. And, in my opinion, it's really not good to live authentically if you're just going to be an authentic jerk. You know what I mean? I personally think that if you truly want to live authentically, that it's a good idea to try to be the best version of yourself that you can. And maybe a good way to illustrate this would be to tell a story. And I really haven't brought a lot of my Christian background into these videos. I was a pastor for 17 years, so I am a little familiar with that. So I'll drag a little bit of that in here for you now. And I want to tell you a story that Jesus told. And this is this is one of my favorite stories. They call them parables, if you're one of those theological types. But it's just a story. And if you'd like, you can find it in the Bible. It's in Luke chapter 16, verses 1 through 9. I'm just going to tell you the story in my own words. Maybe I'll embellish a little bit. But this is the favorite story that Jesus told that's recorded in the Bible, my favorite story anyway. And the reason why, maybe I'll tell you at the end, but it's just, I just love this story throws a curveball. And because of this curveball, I don't think you find a lot of people teaching this particular story. Now, I used it in a number of my sermons because I loved this story. But, honestly, in a lot of the other sermons that I've heard or the books that I've read or videos that I've watched, I really didn't see a lot of people teach on this because it was kind of a different story. So let me tell you about this. This is called the parable of the shrewd manager. Now, there was this rich man that had a business manager that handled his affairs. And unfortunately, he wasn't the most honest person, and he ended up wasting a lot of this man's money and didn't really do that good of a job. And it come to pass that the rich man found out about this, heard about it, and the manager knew that the jig was up. He had to do something because he was going to get thrown out and fired. And wow! So he decided. He said, "I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to find all the people that owe my master money." And the story only talks about two of them, but I'm assuming that he did this with a number of people. And here's an example of what he did. For example, one person, he said, "How much do you owe my employer?" And the guy said, "Well, I owe him 400 gallons of olive oil." Wow, that's a pretty good debt. So he said, "I tell you what, let's take this bill, let's cross out the 400 and make it 200. And did another guy, he said, "How much do you owe my employer?" The guy says, 1,000 bushels of wheat. He said, "I tell you what, let's cross that 1,000 out and we'll make it 800. So you see what he's doing here, right? There's a long list of people that owe his employer a bunch of stuff, and he's just reducing the bills because when he gets fired, he's going to find a whole bunch of people that are going to like him and maybe feel nicely towards him and might help take care of him or maybe get him a job or whatever else. It'll set him up basically after he gets thrown out. And the funny part about this, if you want to do this, it starts in verse 8, and I'm going to read this. It says, "The rich man had to admire the dishonest rascal for being so shrewd. And it is true that children of this world are more shrewd in dealing with the world around them than are the children of light." And Jesus said this in verse 9, "Here's the lesson. Use your worldly resources to benefit others and make friends. Then when your possessions are gone, they will welcome you to an eternal home." Now, of course, you can see this is troubling because Jesus, in essence, is taking something that's dishonest. This guy did something that was dishonest, and he's using it as an object lesson. And he's showing that he as something that, hey, this guy used his situation and his resources to his advantage, and he was being shrewd. And then he's basically saying, when you're doing good, you can be shrewd with what you have as well. And I think this has to do with living authentically. This is what I take from this story, is that you can take the essence of who you are, your authentic self. You can take your resources, you can take your personality, you can take your strengths, you can take your weaknesses, and you can use them to benefit others. You can use them to make friends. You can use them to do good, to make the world around you a better place. And in this case, and the Christian idea is that there was like rewards in the afterlife awaiting you for it. But in a sense, there's a balance. It's a rewarding life, and using what you have to do good, to benefit others, to make friends, to be the best version of yourself, and to make your life count for something. I mean, isn't that like one of the most important things of living authentically, is living according to who you are, but as you're doing that, to know that your life is counting for something. Even if it's small, maybe it doesn't, you don't have to be grandiose and everything, but knowing that because you lived, the world around you was a better place. Even maybe if just for one person. And that, I think, is the true power of living authentically. And one of the reasons why I like the parable of the shrewd manager. But that brings us to the end of our episode of Journey Beyond Belief for today. And I thank you for watching. I'd invite you all to like the video and to subscribe to the channel so you can hear more of what I have to bring for you. But the most important thing that I want you to take away is that you can live authentically and be the best version of yourself. Now, if you'd like, you can join the fun. We have a private Facebook group, and you can find the link down below in the description. And if you hit that, you can request permission to be a part of the group, be a part of our discussion. We talk about lots of things there. We talk about topics that will challenge you to think about things that maybe you will find like, what's a good person? What does it mean to be a good person? What are some things that you like? Sometimes it's even fluffy stuff like what brings you joy, or things of that nature. We talk about morality, we talk about spirituality, we talk about how to be a good person, things that maybe are talked about in religious circles, but we're taking it back. We're talking about these things in a non-religious way, in a way that people can foster healthy discussion. So be a part of the discussion, be a part of the family. And I'd also want to invite you to help in growing our Journey Beyond Belief family. One of the reasons why I do these videos is because I feel like influencing people and speaking is part of who I am, part of what I like to do, part of what I was made to do in a sense, if you believe in any of that stuff. And I would appreciate it if you help grow our Journey Beyond Belief family. Maybe if you like the idea, if you've liked this video, share it on your social media. Spread it around. Spread the joy that is Journey Beyond Belief, and make our family grow. Because I really believe that as we move more and more away from religion, the discussion and the encouragement of what it means to be good and what it means to make the world better, and to be in a community with people who think about these things and challenge each other and support each other, I think it's important. And I think I'd like to see this movement grow. I'd like to see it take off. I'd like to see more groups start across the country and across the world. And let's see what we can do. All right. Well, again, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you again next time on Journey Beyond Belief.